in the time after King Arthur. Our story. The lights of civilization grow dim as the deadly plague of the Red Death overtakes good men and barbarians alike in Europe. Only those on islands like Ireland, Britain, Iceland, Thule, Scandia, and the Mystical Isles are spared. But they remain isolated from the world and from each other, their borders sealed against the horrid sickness. Sad stories. When Pandora opened the box of wonder, many evils flew out and were loosed upon the world, including envy, discontent, plague, crime, and desolation before she could slam down the lid. However, it was just in time to prevent the escape of one thing: hope. And this was what the world needed now, for it was the most terrible outbreak of illness that had ever occurred in history. The first year of a plague is always the worst, and hardly any family is spared. About 1 in 10 dies and corpses are soon rotting in the streets, causing the spread of many other illnesses. The next year is not as bad as the first, but is by itself terrible and takes 1 in 15 to the grave. During the next several years, the plague returns each spring, but lesser and lesser outbreaks occur each time, until finally, for 2 years, the plague does not return at all and is assumed to have run its course. But fully 1/3 of Europe is dead. There is one benefit of the plague, if we dare think of a plague's benefits: that, there being less people alive, there is more than enough wealth and property for the survivors. Nearly everyone is well off, even rich, good, and bad man alike. Although all races were affected by sickness and death, that of the Visigoths was not as greatly affected, perhaps due to their sheer orneriness, and so they began to enjoy a resurgence from their recent subjugation. Only fragments of the once great Western Roman Empire remained to prevent this, and though they fought valiantly, they were soon overcome. And so it was that the unexpected wealth of the Goths merely whetted their appetites for more riches and the power that accompanies it. But we now get ahead of our story, and so the world war that ensues will be detailed on another page of the last night's Almanac. He will awake no more, oh nevermore. Within the twilight chamber spreads apace the shadow of white death, and at the door invisible corruption waits to trace his extreme way to her dim dwelling place. The eternal hunger sits, but pity and awe soothe her pale rage, nor dare she to deface so fair a prey, till darkness and the law of change shall over his sleep the mortal curtain draw. Shelley. What is death to me? Where death is, I am not. Where I am, death is not. To that high capital, where kingly death keeps his pale court in beauty and decay, he came, and bought, with price of purest breath, a grave among the eternal. Come away. Shelley.